All right. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Patey Pips, Next Wave Analyst, and we are in midweek. Tomorrow's going to be Wednesday. We're looking for some good opportunities. And the dollar is pretty much giving us what we are looking for, what we were looking for on the daily, right? We were expecting this to hold and pop back into this kind of bullish structure, bullish channel. And now that it has done that, I know yesterday was kind of a pin bar, but I am looking at this to most likely continue back in as the dollar is just extremely bullish, right? The volume on the bullish move up was increasing. This candle didn't give much volume. That's good. We want to see a low volume pullback and then a move to the upside. So it's not so much the channel lines that we're worried about. It's just necessary. It's really like how it faked out and then it came back into it. That's really what we're looking at. The daily fib zone as well, from this swing to this swing. And then also this daily level, it held very well. So until all of that gets broken, I'm going to remain bullish on the dollar. And it's pretty much that simple. When we go into the 4 hour, you can really see, let me hide these. You can really see the bullish impulse that it made out of this. And now we're getting a correction, hopefully at least. I don't really want this to just continue to go up without giving us some type of a play. So what we're looking for now is basically from this swing to this swing, we want to see price come back into these levels, which would be holding above this daily level. And then this weekly point of control, you can see there's a lot of volume down in there that hasn't been tested. So we can see this last week's point of control right here. Last week's point of control hasn't been tested at all. And so if it can come all the way down back into this, it will look like, you know, it's failing this channel, but we're playing this as an inverted head and shoulders here, and then coming back into that, and then looking for another move to the upside. So it's just a patience game at this point. The higher probability, of course, is going to be looking for buys down here. But in the meantime, there's a whole lot of area to possibly look for this thing to correct down. So when you go on to the lower time frames, that's what you can see. We had marked this off earlier today. I'm going to just delete it because it's kind of in the way. And let's see, I don't need any volume right now on that side, really. What I'm seeing is just a pretty sharp correctional move that happened here. There was a little bit of divergence here as the MACD was kind of flattening out and then maybe even turning down, as this whole time the market was just moving up and the volume was also diverging. So it's kind of telling me that this is, you know, slowing down, getting ready to correct, giving me more confirmation for the, you know, move to the downside if I were to play that. Now that never got hit, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this. I really have to go down to the 15-minute to show what I'm seeing for tomorrow. So I like this 15-minute impulse down and how it's correcting here. If it drops here, I don't really want to look for the sell. But if it can kind of hold and continue to flag out, kind of do this right around New York time, then I'll be looking for this type of move down, plain and simple, on the dollar. Now, if it takes off during London or something, it's a different story, because ultimately we're looking to buy way down here. And so this is like a daily area, and then it confirms with an intraday area right here. So very strong confluence. If price can get down here, we're looking for buys. But in the meantime, there's going to be some risky opportunities to the downside. So pretty much looking to take this to the downside here, depending on how it corrects, right? So that's going to be the exact opposite for the euro. Just straight up exact opposite. We don't have to go into the higher time frames or anything. We're going to stick just right here, 15-minute. It's the same thing. We got this bullish impulse after the market has kind of dropped a good amount. We did catch a very clean sell last week, but now we're expecting it to come back up. I ultimately wanted it to come down a little bit further into this swing area. 78.6 is about right here, but it didn't, and it still might. This might be an early position. It might be a little early, but I still like the possibility of this coming down into this area and then moving out. Regardless, it'll be a limit order position for EU. So this is the Euro futures, but EU is going to look exactly the same. So that's going to be the setup for EU whenever I go look at that. The pound, same exact thing, guys, same exact thing. If it can come down before it makes a move to the upside, then that's going to be the play. If it can come back down into where yesterday's kind of demand area, then I'm looking for this push up. It has been rejecting this higher time frame zone. So let me go look at that real quick on the daily and see what that looks like. Okay. So yeah, it's just been double topping right here. I don't even know what this is. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. I like the euro better, but the pound did kind of move a little bit faster and does look a little stronger still. If it creates the divergence during New York or maybe even London, it might be a good idea, because right now you can see the momentum is not even close to there. The volume's not there, but price is still trying to make its move up. So it is a little bit risky to try to just catch the divergence turnaround, but there is an opportunity for divergence up here in this area. So if the market doesn't correct first, that's how I play it. If we see an impulse, I play the correction and then another move up. If there's no correction and it just goes sideways or goes up, then I'll look for it to do that. Something like that. But ultimately, I want to see this. Now, the Australian dollar is doing something different. So let me go to the daily and see where we're really reacting. Okay, perfect. It reacted super heavy off of this fib zone, right off of it. And I'm going to even tighten it up so I don't have to see it so big. And the volume wasn't there. Extreme volume definitely wasn't there. And this is a little intraday zone. So let's go down to maybe the 4 hours so we can see. Did I go to the 4 minute? Yeah, I did. Okay, so clean rejection off of a higher time frame fib. Ultimately, we wanted to see last week, we wanted to see from this swing to, from this swing to this swing, we wanted to see price come down into this fib and then make this move up. And it never did the retracement. So at this point, what we're looking for is probably more of a complex pullback. And I can, if I, want to extend these fibs out a little bit. And then here's still kind of the area that we're looking for price to get into. And there's just these equal lows basically right here that I know a lot of people are looking for. Wait for those to get taken and then move. I'm not the biggest fan of this overall. I like the way like the euro looks more on a bigger scale, or even the pound, but on the higher time frames, the Australian dollar is more of the stronger than all those three. So this could be in an area right here. As you see, last week we had a very bullish candle, and now we're back into the middle of this candle. This could completely go bullish. It really could, depending on what the dollar does. but I'm kind of just gonna lean. This one will be interesting because I'm seeing two things. One is this right here, bullish divergence on 3 waves. And that's usually my, complete turnaround indicator. I'm also seeing this complete like shift in structure here. And we could just be retracing to come back down to complete that complex pullback that I'm talking about. So there's a couple options on AU, or will be options on AUs, the Australian dollar. Here is option number 1, I guess. And then option number 2 would be to wait for it to bust out more on this 15-minute time frame. And then if it does break structure, which it would need to fully kind of break out of this, if it does that without getting straight here, like I guess if it just does this, then I'm not going to play any buys. But if it can just break up, I think that'll be a good intraday opportunity to then look for a short. Swiss franc, let's see. Interesting. It took out these highs with this candle and then has started dropping off the 78.6. I mean, I think there's only one way to look at this, and it's to the downside. Let me go to the 4 and make sure that's what I want to see. Actually, there's probably going to be one more move to the upside just based off of this 4-hour momentum. So this was flat for a while and maybe even coming down a little bit as price this whole time was just going up, showing this move was getting exhausted. It gave the correction, so it cooled off. And then the next thing you know, it makes a new impulse. And now this impulse here is fresh, and we have no cooling off yet, or we have no signs of divergence. So what's most likely going to happen is this, right? We're getting the pullback, we got the cool off, and now we need to see divergence. So this is most likely going to come up like this, form the divergence here. The momentum will slow down, but price will probably continue to make one more move higher. And then as long as there's divergence with the higher price in lower momentum, that will kind of give a better indication that this is getting ready to really turn around. So I'm not looking for a complete shift just yet. And I really don't know if I want to buy it, but it doesn't look terrible. If it can break the structures on the lower time frame, and in fact, this was a very strong structure point in the past. I can just show y'all. So if it can get back above here, that's when I'll really think that there's a better chance for this to start turning around. Okay, even if it comes back above and then closes below, like that's called an S curve, an S break, and that's money to me still. I just want to see some more structure break. Even like on the 5-minute, it doesn't even, it looks too accumulative. Now, I think if it does make this type of move, then I might take a shot at it here before it even gets here. And then if it does end up breaking this, that's when you know you're really right and you can add. So I'll be watching the USD or the Swiss franc, and that would ultimately lead it into this fib right here, I believe. No, not quite. It would hit the 61.8. But either way, this looks like it has one more move down. The momentum here is still coming down as well, so there's not even any divergence there. So I'm not I'm probably looking for even this type of move, if anything, because of how much there still needs to go on. So the 1 hour doesn't have bullish divergence yet, which means there's probably going to be one more leg down, but the 4 hour is saying that there's still going to be one more bigger move up. So it's a little bit wishy-washy. I'm probably going to watch it and analyze it more than try to trade it. The Japanese yen. It's in this interesting area. I'm gonna go to the weekly. Got to show it right here. We're still above it. I don't know why it's not marked. Maybe it is on the 4 hour. Hold on. Not really. Let's go to the weekly again and mark off this low just so we know where the old all-time low was and how we're back above it. Okay. Barely though. Barely back above it. On a weekly time frame, it's kind of looking maybe like it's getting exhausted again to come make another move to the downside. On the daily, it's just kind of chopping sideways a little bit now. I still think we're a little early on this. This looks like a Wyckoff move here. We might get one more move down. Okay, come back up. Maybe even one more move down. Okay, before ultimately this thing is going to really go crazy, I think. And I'll continue to say that every single analysis until it does it. But for now, I don't 100% know that it's going to do that. So what I really want to do is I want to wait for it to come down into this swing level, which probably is not going to get there this week, and that's fine. But this would be just below the old all-time highs, which is this line. And it would be kind of like a fake move down, just a wicket. And then the next day it would need to come right back above it. If I can see it do that, then I will have a lot of confidence in any intraday buying opportunity. But for now, the intraday buying opportunity would be here on the 1 hour, which I'm not going to play it, or I'm not going to play. I don't really want to play the yens based off of this. I really want to wait for it to do this and come down into this zone and show that, you know, these old all-time highs are going to hold again, slip through, grab this demand, come back above it. That would be the money shot. But right now it is at these fib levels. It could take off from here. We did have high demand right here, so that like makes sense for it to move up, but the structures haven't completely shifted yet on the lower time frames. So to me, it just looks kind of like a bear flag is still forming. Maybe we starting to get a lower high, higher high, lower high, higher high, higher low situation, but it's not impulsive enough for me to really want to switch my bias yet. So I'm not going to play this fib. I'm waiting for this to get hit. Once this gets hit, then I think we'll be able to look for shorting opportunities on the yen. Gold is nothing's changed. It has just been chilling here in this little accumulation range. I'm still waiting for it to come up here to look for sells. But yeah, this is looking very accumulative. If we get a spike down, we'll maybe look to buy, maybe look for this. Let me go to the 1 hour and see if it's got that big divergence. Yeah. So I'll be looking for buys on gold around 1780 on futures price, which is different on spot price. So sorry. And maybe even a little further down, but once it gets there, I'll be alerted. That's a little bit below this wick, or right at this wick, so that makes sense. And then I would have to drag this down to something like that. But for now, If it comes up here at any point tomorrow, I'm looking for sells. Silver is a confirmation for me, but I don't want to look at it right now. Oil is still very much an opportunity. The same thing hasn't really changed. Waiting for it to come up into this area before looking for it to continue down into this area. Same thing. It looks like there could be even a 15-minute opportunity here, because it didn't get to my entry and it did make a new low. So there is an opportunity. I'm just going to delete that. Keep the alert for oil right here as well tomorrow. So that's not a bad look. The freaking, this guy, I was hoping that this was going to stop here, honestly. So I'm not 100% sure if the indices are going to fall anymore until this gets back down to the lows at this point, or it puts in some type of a daily pattern like this or this or this, then I'm not going to be bearish on the indices. I just can't, because this is still coming down, down, down. A lot of the times it will kind of break the low and then reverse really quick. But yeah, it looks like it's coming back down to this 16.6 area at least. I mean, it's breaking this. So here'd be the next area that it comes to, that we need to wait for this to get here to even think about shorting the indices. So right now the indices are going to continue to move up as long as this is coming down. So let's look at those. And this is right in the swing zone anyway, like right in the swing zone. So we kind of do want it to continue to go up a little bit. I mean, there's not really much to say. It's a perfect swing. The volume is decreasing now as price is moving up into the swing zone. Once we get a true intraday reaction here and maybe some volume that actually picks up that goes our way with price action, then it should fall. It should fall back into at least this level, because now we have a really significant rally here. There's no doubt about that. If you have EMAs on your chart and all that, it's broken all those. So I'll be taking it to at least down in here. And you can see it just was a strong area regardless of the fibs. So, because there's still definitely a possibility that this can happen now, and we could just start trending up again, because the Fed seems like they want to switch sentiment, but they just can't yet. They can't yet. So these are going to be like that on all of them. Let's go to the 1 hour though, just to see what the lower time frames look like. And it has this rising wedge still, that once it breaks out and actually forms some type of a bearish pattern, then it should be really good to go. And I want it to make one more move up and then come down to really show like the manipulation, the liquidity grab, the willingness of the sellers to not accept this price and just want to just drive it down. Because you can see a major divergence. I'm not sure if I've ever seen 4 waves this pretty. So I have a very high probable confidence that this is going to eventually do something like this. But with divergence, sometimes all it does is that, and then it'll kind of go sideways and then move up again, because divergence really is just to get you back into the mean. There's a ton of imbalance right here that price is most likely going to get into, but other than that, I got to just really wait for it to actually snap, because I'm not going to buy it. And I'm not going to I don't think I want to sell this because it hasn't broken structure yet. It's very impulsive, and I like the momentum and I like the volume that picked up there a lot, but it hasn't quite broken the structure yet. And that's really what I want to see. If it can maybe, if this is the swing high of that and then puts in this low, well, then I will consider this a complete shift in structure and I'll look for the next kind of move like that. But until then, it's just a waiting game. And I believe it's a waiting game on all of them. Yeah, so this hasn't shifted yet either. And on the daily, it is, I don't know if it's quite there yet. No, on the daily, it looks like it still has some more room to go up. And then on the Dow Jones, it's right here as well. So they're all in the swing zone pretty much. The NASDAQ isn't quite there yet, but yeah, we're just being patient. The volume is low. On the NASDAQ, the volume increased right here with this doji candle. So that's kind of a sign, first signal of maybe reversals coming, but not just yet, I don't think. Let's look at the US Treasury bonds. And this is the 2-year. And what it's showing to me, what it looks like to me, is this is wanting to really bust out of this. And if we get another move up on these guys, they're going to have to raise rates way more than they wanted to. So I would love to see this break out. There is some divergence here, but when a market is going sideways for this long and then there's divergence, it kind of cancels it out. So let's see where this 50 EMA is. Yeah, the 50 EMA is right here. It's not really diverged anymore. The market is balanced. So it is a little overextended on a yearly Bollinger Band, but other than that, this thing looks like it wants to go up. And then the 10-year is at an area where it might come down a little bit, but ultimately it's still in a swing mode where it should, if it comes down, it should form the divergence and then move up. We already have 2 waves of divergence here. If it makes one more wave down, it's most likely going to give 3 waves, move up. That is going to cause them to have to raise rates again. So raise rates more than what they wanted to, which is going to ultimately lead to the indices falling big time. So this is a whole macro thing that we're waiting on to happen. Definitely not, we don't trade the bonds on the lower time frames, but you can see I've marked this off right here. I do believe that once it kind of gets into that, we're probably going to see another drop. And yeah, let's go into not inflation. We don't need to look at that. The crypto market. All right. Bitcoin is still in this bearish flag. Okay. Bearish is fuck on it still. There's no reason to be bullish. This is the opposite of bullish price action. Just complete sideways, bearish market, bearish flag, beautiful setup. Now, the way bearish flags fail is if there is ever a like big time impulsive candle. That's probably going to indicate a failure, and this is going to end up doing this and start some bullish run that people don't expect. But what I'm expecting is either it's going to kind of continue to do this stupid shit, come up here and then start to fall down into these scary prices, or we're going to get the really ultimately what I want to see. I don't care where it goes to. I just want to see some type of divergence here. So right here, if it could make a lower low in price and keep this momentum without making a new low in momentum, that will really signify a bottom in Bitcoin. So we're just waiting for that to happen. On an intraday level, we could probably try to take advantage of some shorting opportunities. but it's just a little sketchy because it technically hasn't, really made that shift yet. But this would be ultimately the move, and it's an opportunity, half risk at least, and then, shoot your shot right here, taking it back down, kind of, and if you're a swing trader, this could be like an opening position that you could start to build on. Ethereum is the same thing. I've had it marked off for a minute. It looks a little bit cleaner to me, but it has been a little stronger. So it ultimately, you really want to sell Bitcoin right now and not Ethereum because Ethereum has been just making bigger moves to the upside. But I like the way the pattern looks a little bit better on Ethereum. And so it did hit the top right here, gave a nice little volume push. And so, yeah, I think there's an opportunity there. It still hasn't really fully given itself the confirmations, but on the lower time frame, I mean, it doesn't look terrible at all. So kind of had this manipulation move up and then right back down. So I think if it comes back into there, it's not a bad idea. All right, so that's it for the analysis. Real quick, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go on to the Forex pairs and I'm going to roll through these bitches. Okay, starting with the dollar UCAD, actually, starting with UCAD. And we're going to go back into this mode. Okay, UCAD, it has some opportunities. So on the 1 hour, you can see it made this kind of stop hunt move right here and then just reverse. I like the impulse. I'm going to play the impulse. If it can come down into here, then that's a buy all day long. But on the 15-minute, it has completely broken this structure here, starting to mark down. So I would like to see it come back up. If it can get up into this area, then I think it's going to give it a good opportunity to then bring it back into the area I want to buy it from. And then hopefully there's some type of divergence accumulation, something like this. And then we go up from there. So that's UCAD. I like the way that looks actually. UCHF is, we've briefly spoke about the CHF, but on UCHF right now, I'm not really seeing anything other than most likely what's going to happen is it's going to short off of this up here. So I'll mark that off, but I'm not really, it's not really looking pretty. If it's going to continue this 15-minute trend or 5-minute trend, then these would be the areas that you want to like look for. But for me, I don't really like the way it looks. I will only sell it unless it gets up here. I'm probably not going to buy it. This is the EU setup. We already spoke about this from the Euro futures, but if it can get down into these areas, these prices, it's a limit order type of a play, and you just got to let it rock out. So 78.6 is where I'm going to go. It's about a 16 pip stop loss. TP is going to be right at the negative 61.8 extension. It's a 6-to-1. The TP, yeah, ultimately I want to see EU come all the way back up into this area and fall. So come down here, get me in, do something like this, and then coming in, bringing it down into the negative 38.2 extension, which is where there's a ton of open volume. So that's what I'll be waiting for on EU. And I'll just leave that there, it doesn't matter. EA kind of hit this bitch and started moving off already. So there's no setup for me on EA, I think. Looks just kind of a little bullish recently. So probably going to pass on EA because I don't trade it very much anyway. EG is another one I don't trade a whole lot, but I do like to look at it. So here is what I'm going to play for EG because it actually looks pretty solid. Take it from this swing to this swing. And if it can get down in here, you can see the big demand. I think that's a solid play. Okay. Solid play. Something like that. Maybe wait for intraday shift of structure, and then that could be a higher probability right there because this is technically just dying. But the momentum on the 1 hour is starting to pick up. So that's going to look really good if this comes up and then creates 3-wave divergence right here. That's going to be really, really high probability for this to move out. But let me look at this maybe on like the daily to see what I'm seeing. Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility, definitely. It is just starting to create these lower lows though, so it might sweep through that and come all the way down into here. But you never know. It's definitely a good opportunity on the 4 hour as well. You can see the impulse didn't necessarily break this swing high, so I'm expecting it to come back up to the swing high. Not the best trade, not the best setup. GU is going to be another one, right? That we spoke about the pound futures. This is going to be another same thing as EU, but different price, obviously. 6-1 as well. This one already looks a little like it's not going to come down here, or it's going to keep going and form some divergence. So the divergence fib up there is another spot that I want to look at for an opportunity to short it, maybe for a scalp. And that would look like this. Something like that. Okay. GCAD worked out. All right. This is probably going to continue up. If it does break this structure here, look for it to move up more because it has pretty much respected. I mean, it's sideways, don't get me wrong, but it did respect this fib off of this move. And then it respected another fib that was right here off of this move. So if it does break that, I would expect this to start trending, but nothing right now. This is another one that we can look for a bullish move on. If it can come back down into here, you can see just a retarded impulse. So I love that. If it can come back down into this area of congestion, that'd be perfect. GA is starting to kind of go away, just like EA. No setup on it, in my opinion. The waves are starting to get a little smaller as price is moving up, which is indicating divergence in itself. And then the divergence is there. So I don't want to try to get involved with that. AU, we spoke about it, basically the Australian futures. And if it can come up here, this is definitely an opportunity I'm looking for. And then also, I think we should kind of maybe look for this opportunity as well. I mean, ultimately, I wanted it to come way down here at this opportunity. Let's bring this right here. And then it just never, it never got there. So I'm not sure if it's going to, but I'll leave that there and then I'll mark this here as well. So there's like a couple ways to play AU right now. I'm going to throw all of the options on the screen and then figure out which probable area that I might not lose at. Okay. These are all the demand zones that I will play, that I would play. And then here is the supply zone. So there's so many different spots for AU that it's like almost overwhelming. So odds are everywhere. I wouldn't put a lot of risk on it on any of this, just because it could do this, it could do this, it could do this, it could do this. So too much on AU to really focus on. Let's see, the yin or the UJ is starting to line up. It hit this, but I think we're probably going to create some type of divergence first if it's going to fall. So let's go into like the 15-minute. And yeah, there's no divergence here. It is starting to maybe make some lower lows and lower highs, but this to me isn't ready. So 1 hour is going to show the MACD is still bullish. The momentum is still very much to the upside here. So I'm going to wait for that to cool off. And then I'm going to look for this to drop. Probably going to do something like this. And if we get that picture perfect type of thing, then it's game time. But right now, I don't really want to play. I don't really see anything. And I don't like to trade right before bed anyway. So if anyone is looking for a trade like right now, it's the limit orders on EU and GU. There's no, I'm not gonna put someone to a trade while they're about to go to sleep. That's terrible. This is another one, right? The momentum is still extreme on the 1 hour, but when it starts to move, price starts to move up again, this isn't going to, like, price is going to make a new high, and this is not going to have enough momentum. So there most likely will be an opportunity here for EJ. And then for the GJ, it's a little different. So on all the other pounds, I'm looking for sells. On GJ, I'm looking for buys. And it's only because it's broken out of this pattern and it also hit a nice fib. So yeah, it's just really just waiting for it to come back down. If there's a 5-minute opportunity to short while all these other 1 hour plays on the yin are there, then that will bring higher probability. Even though I'm looking to buy, even though I'm looking to buy GJ, right here, it is creating some form of this 5-minute distribution. And like I said, all the other ones, they're kind of already in this bearish pocket. This one clearly is more just, I don't know, maybe I'm just seeing it more bullish than seeing the other ones more bullish. But regardless, this could easily give a stop hunt move like this. And that would, I would really have a high probability on shorting it if it would come back up here based off of the other yen pairs looking so bearish. All right. But that would be more of an intraday move. This would be more of a, maybe not a swing, but it could take, you know, a little bit to play out. It could take 14 hours. Sometimes it takes longer. So, let's go look at the next pair, and that is AJ. So AJ is another one. Dang. So it might have already left the building. I wanted to get some of the AJs. All right, let me see here. It's going to be the same thing. We got to wait for one more move. So early sellers are probably, or maybe, I don't know. I'm hoping, I'm hoping that the early sellers are getting their profits right now, right? And then this is a level that people are going to look at when price comes back up into this. They're going to look to sell. So what I'm going to look to do, that's not really my, I mean, it is my style, but since I think some of the other yens have a chance to go bullish a little bit and then bearish, I'm going to actually try to wait for this to come into my zone still, because this looks like a clear Wyckoff sign of strength. And if we could get a UTAD, something like this even, that would be ultimately the best looking Wyckoff type scenario. And I said at the beginning of the week, AJ did look the best out of all of them. So that's why I'm more interested to see that happen. You can see this zone right here. We could price could easily hold here and do what I want it to do. So that's that. CAD yen. I probably never will trade this, so I'm going to take this off my watch list. But if I were to trade it, it would be this move right here for sure, for sure. It doesn't even look bad. I might try to trade it, and if I lose, I'll take it off the watch list forever. But this doesn't even look bad at all. Coming down into this area of fake out and then move out, that's solid. That's solid. I'm gonna have to put an alert there and test my luck with freaking CAD JP1. That's okay. That one kind of looks like a GJ a little bit, you know. And then this is the Swiss franc yen. I don't trade this, but it is looking similar. I don't trade it. Gold spot. Here's a better price for gold sells. Like 17.95. So that's another limit order for tonight. It's most likely not going to get there, but it could. And then if you're like really trying to get a trade tonight, I got you on one right here, but don't get mad if you wake up a millionaire. Here we go on gold. Divergence fib. And then that would be, you know, basically creating this falling wedge pattern, kind of slipping through it real quick, grabbing that, and then bouncing back. If we get this on gold tomorrow, that's the play. Like we can really focus on gold tomorrow. And that could be a limit order as well. The thing about this one is the stop loss might get stop loss is a little tough on these type of plays, because you want to have a stop loss, but even with my experience with divergence, sometimes it's tough. You get it hit sometimes. 40 to 50 pips on gold is really where your stop loss needs to be when you're trading divergence. I'm going to put it right around 20, 30, 40 for 40. A lot of times I do 30 for 30 on now I'll do 50 for 50. I do 30 for 30 a lot on Forex divergence. This is going to be a 50 for 100 pips. And ultimately, if you're about that life, it should do something like this actually. So Then let's move this over here. Yeah, those are two different colors. That blows my mind. Long. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, no, no. Okay. I think that's going to be it for me, guys, today. I appreciate y'all for coming on. Do I have anyone in the chats that has any questions? We're about an hour into it. I've gone over everything you can possibly trade, unless you trade the NZD pairs. If you do, you're probably not a profitable trader. Just kidding. Let's. I don't even have NZD pairs on here anymore, but I know they just had news, so it might. Let's see if AU moved at all from it. Okay, there was that opportunity right there. Let's see if NZD. Okay, well, there is maybe an opportunity right here. I'm not against this. This looks really good. That looks really good. Let's see some other ones. NZD, JPY. Yep. Okay. Let me make sure they actually did what they said they were going to do. Yep. Oh, that was last hour anyway. NZD, GBP, NZD. Yeah, some of these have some opportunities. If you trade the NZD, this looks pretty. This probably didn't do anything. Oh. This is like a pair I'll never trade, but it's moving. No. I think this is a good setup. Come down a little bit more. This is kind of like what AU looks like. Oh, this is AU almost. Let me add NZD USD to this. I'll just put it right under AU. Yeah, this is most likely going to come up a little bit and then drop. And that's going to cause this to come down more and then, okay. this type of candle. I'm not in a trade yet. Probably not going to get into it. We'll see. All right, I'm getting off. Yeah, have a good one. Appreciate you. Peace.